was on the street and there were like over 60 people watching her. Not one of them called the police. Not one of them went out there and helped her. Not one of them helped her. She was. So
how does that relate to what Kanye West said, though?
The reason saying that love conquers all. But if really it does, then he wouldn't have done what he did to her. He wouldn't have done all that. And if love was that strong, then they would have went out there, and if they really did care about another human, they would have went out there and helped her. They would have went and called the police. They would have got a bat and beat his ass.
Mm-hmm.
At first, he stabbed her. She was getting away because she was a very independent woman. She was getting away, and she was like, "Help me! Someone help me!" She was screaming at the top of her lungs. People were looking up. They're like, "Oh, poor thing. Let's not call the police. Let's not go out there."
But what do you think Kanye West would say to that situation? Do you think, based on what he said in the interview that he did with TMZ, what do you think he would say?
He'd probably say, well, love conquers all, and over time, if you really think about it, if he would have grown up in a positive society or positive with good ideas, then he would have known not to do that, or he wouldn't have done that. But what about I'm bringing up another serial killer, Jeffrey Dahmer. He grew up in a very rich area. He had a perfect picket fence. House.
Mm-hmm. The stereotypical lifestyle.
The stereotypical lifestyle. He had a mother and a father. Mm-hmm. They wound up divorcing later in his life. But, I mean, he was kind of, he had a nice childhood. He even said it himself. His father said himself, he was a very good child until he started going into the woods and dissecting animals. The first time he ever killed a 16-year-old boy, chopped him up, and scattered his bones. He ground up his bones and scattered his bones through the forest. He cannibalized children. He killed many people. But because he had a good childhood and he was in a positive environment, that means that he won't grow up to be negative. Well, he still did. And he still wound up taking skulls and putting.
But what do you think? So, what do you think in relation to when Kanye West said "love conquers all"? What do you think? How does that relate to his earlier statement about slavery being a choice? What do you think he meant by that? If you're being fair and not just someone said something about slavery, let's go. If you being fair and think about what he said and you listen to the whole interview, what do you think he meant when he said slavery was a choice in relation to his later statement about love conquering all?
Yeah, I think he was also talking about that on the white people side, like the supremacists, the racists on that side. That he was saying that it was a choice for them not to do what they did to all the chocolates, and that if they were raised in a better society, in a better I guess culture, or not culture, like a better environment, then that they wouldn't have done what they did. But at the same time, their grandparents believed that, their great-great-grandparents believed that, their great-great-great. So you have to break that. You have to go somewhere in time and break that belief of, in that time, white people being more superior than black people. You have to go all the way back. Then you have to go back in time and break that. Not even just now. Then we should build a time machine and go all the way back. Because there's always going to be a racist. There's always going to be that person who is negative, even if it's.
But what if what Kanye West meant was that statement that you just said, there will always be racism? What if he meant that statement in and of itself is false? That there will come a time when there will no longer be these negative ideals. And not ideals, but these negative ideas that we have now, such as racism and socioeconomic superiority and things of that nature, and superiority based on attraction and all this stuff, based on how attractive you are. What if he said that there will come a time in history,
I mean, hey,
in the future, where this will no longer be?
If that happens, okay, but what that man was saying, I don't know who he was, but that man who responded to him,
the employee at the TMZ employee.
He's talking about now. We're in the moment now. We're in that environment now, where it's like this now. Yes, we're working to change it, but it's not going to happen too soon. Maybe eventually in thousands of years, but you would have to work on racism, then you have to work on rape, then you have to work on.
So do you believe that when Kanye West said love conquers all, how we were discussing earlier, do you believe that what he means is if for all negativity that we have in this world, it can simply be eliminated or dissolved, or it can be somehow be remedied by love, i.e. what is your expression of love? Giving someone a hug, forgiveness. He also mentioned forgiveness. So the rape victim wouldn't necessarily have to give her rapist a hug, but it would be mandatory for her to forgive him. What do you think about that?
I think it should never be mandatory for her to hug him, because still he has to pay for what he did. You killed.
Do you think it would be possible for a rapist to pay for their crime and still be forgiven by the rape survivor?
In my eyes, no, because I have no respect for them, and I just don't understand. But I understand that. I guess he's saying maybe if he would have grown up to, somehow not think that was okay. But at the same time, that's pure evil. Like, that's not even just about hate and love. That's just like pure evil. Like, you're the thing that balances out the world, negative and positive. You are the negative. You're that negative that you'd violate someone who you know they can't defend themselves. You're pure evil. You're not just negative. You're pure evil.
Do you think that we need this pure evil in the world for things like love, what Kanye West is saying, to exist?
We don't need pure evil, but we do need negative and positive. Just like I'm wearing right now. I'm wearing it right now. Yin yang. Like, you need balance. You need balance. But at the same time, of course.
So if you need balance, then Kanye West's statement of love conquering all would be off balance, yes or no? That'd be an imbalance.
Yes.
Because if one thing can conquer all, then where's the balance in that?
I believe that love can, help us not be so how we are right now, because
how are we right now?
We're horrible, we're uneducated, we're ignorant, we're racist, we don't care about other people's
By
lives.
we, who do you mean?
Us humans. Us humans. I'm even.
What do you think? What do you think? Us humans, being good on us humans, and our ability to be so negative by enslaving each other and beating each other and labeling one another as 3/5 of a human being. How they labeled the slaves during the time of slavery in the United States. Yes. What do you think? Why do you think humans were able to enslave each other even before then? I mean, you have going back to the Greeks; they were also enslaved. Yeah. Some of them, and
the lighter ones were the ones who were.
And on the continent of Africa, you have the darker skinned individuals being enslaved by the lighter skinned ones.
Even slavery in Africa. So
yes, even today.
Saying that,
how do you think humans were able to even come up with that concept of slavery?
I think maybe, speaking on the negative point, I guess, I don't know. I don't know. I think eventually someone thought, hey, you look different than me. Hey, I don't really like how you look. I'm gonna treat you.
But what about during the time of slavery, going back to when both the slave and the master both were, like, skin color wise, they were both white. So what do you think?
Else that they don't like
what was the something else?
It could be about that they had less education, that they were less financially stable than them. It could be that, it could be anything. It could not just be about race. It could be about, maybe they didn't like them. Maybe they were envious. Maybe they envied them.
Why do you think Kanye West made that statement about slavery being a choice? That we should have done something. Basically, that the slaves should have done something.
Well,
in all those 400 years.
Some of us did, though. Like, some of them did. Some of them ran away, and
what did they do?
They freed slaves. They
who?
Harriet Tubman, all the slaves who ran away. I mean, is he going to talk about that? Is he going to talk about how there were people who did escape, who did get away, and who did manage to educate themselves, manage to teach themselves how to read, manage to teach themselves how to write?
People like Frederick Douglass.
Yes.
Yes.
Who was, I'm so grateful for him. Like, he was also a writer. He was abolitionist.
Mm-hmm.
And also on the white side, there were also other people on the white side who were helping us. It wasn't just, chocolate's African Americans. It was, I mean, like, what do you say about them? They did escape. They did something. They did something
that you want them to do.
They went ahead and they said, no, you're not gonna do this. No. You're not gonna push me to the end of the back of the bus. You're not gonna tell me I need
Who said you're not gonna push me to the back of the bus? What was her name?
Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks. There was also another person also looked that person up.
And also, when she did that, the thing is, she did cause an uproar. A lot of the people, even the vanillas who were on the bus, they wound up going on strike. A lot of the bus drivers wound up going on strike and marching down the street and saying, no, Rosa Parks, we will not let them go to the back. We will get up so they can sit down. We will not just sit here and go to the back. We will not let someone tell us we need to go in the back. We will not do that. So she did start an uproar. She did fight.
Do you think that it would be right then for all chocolate and anyone of any sort of chocolate descent to forgive all vanillas? Do you think there's a need for forgiveness in this situation?
In some cases, yes, but it matters the circumstances. It really does. Like, I feel like about sexual abuse, never. Mm-hmm. That's pure evil. Mm-hmm. About killing children, I believe no forgiveness. About slavery, me right now, how I feel right now, no. Unless you're of young age, if you're a child yourself, maybe I could eventually forgive you. Maybe you could realize how ignorant you are. But people who beat children, who beat the slaves, who killed them, and who did it over the years and died thinking that was okay, no. Me personally, in my opinion, no. I mean, I guess eventually, if they realize.
And what about the other issue they brought about the black on black crime?
Black on black crime. I also believe that that's also wrong, and I believe we do have in our society, in the black community, we do have problems. I can say something about that too. That a lot of us don't support each other. A lot of us, quote unquote, our Uncle Toms who go on the white side and say, oh yeah, like they bleach their skin, or they try to be white, or they try to do this, or they try to do that. In the black community, we do have those problems of a lot of black people believing that you shouldn't mix. As I'm a mixed race, I'm biracial. A lot of people don't agree with that. They don't believe that I should be mixed. They believe that I should be on.
Why do you think they believe that you shouldn't be mixed?
They believe because that back in the day when they were they go back in time. They say, oh, because the white man was treating the black woman not right, or that
he was forcing himself upon her.
Forcing himself upon her. In these days, we shouldn't let them do that. But at the same time, it's like, I'm doing it with the consent. My mom, you guys, it wasn't like a master of thing relationship. It was like, no, it was consensual. It was like, and what's wrong with mixing? I love mixing. I love beautiful, like, mixed people who believe that it's okay to mix. It's okay to do that. And at the same time, you can't tell someone not to love someone. So what you're saying is wrong. What you're saying is that if no one should mix, then that means that there should be no love between those two people. Like,
And
if
shouldn't love conquer all?
Yeah.
As you said, what do you say to those people who don't want the mixing?
Yeah.